And now I'm curious to hear some reactions from Hans in Miami.
Hans, yesterday was a terrible day for you, and today you start out with a masterpiece. How would you summarize it?
Chess speaks for itself.
Is it something special doing this against Magnus, Hans?
Now, we all know and love that Immortal Hans Niemann clip, but how much do you remember about the original game from which it came? That's the trip we're taking today, way back down memory lane, in honour of the Netflix documentary coming soon. This was the opening move by Magnus Carlsen. It was the FTX Cup, summer of 2022. Hans Niemann had a terrible losing record against Magnus, but in this game, he took the fight to him with a Sicilian, came out on top, and it was truly a stunning display of positional, grinding, squeezing dominance. They're online chess, but opposite each other in the room. It's a rapid play game. It's truly impressive, and it started with a Rossolimo from Magnus. Niemann decides to go for the Fianchetto bishop. Now we see castles. This one tucks in, and Chewbacca's favourite move, the Wookiee one on the board. This provocative knight jump played. Magnus takes the space. Knight centralised. It's tried and tested grandmother theory. We don't see the exchange of knights. Instead, Niemann wants the nay stack, and he's about to pick up a bishop. So Magnus decides to take. Pawn recaptures. So yes, you've given up the bishops, but you've mangled the pawn structure. Knight e4's the follow-up. Pawn simply defended here, and now Magnus unleashes a bit of a thunderbolt to the untrained eye. Knight f6 check. It has no right to be on that square, but here's the point. We're in the analysis mode. This wasn't played. You unleash a counter check if takes, well, not a counter check, a further check, and you pick up the piece back, and you're having fun on the dark squares. So black's advised not to take. King f8's played here, and the knight now just simply drops back. Otherwise you are getting munched, and the bishop and queen would be capturing that pawn. So this is how things went. The Niemann bishop streams out, or the light squared bishop rather, puts some pressure on this pawn, but Magnus just goes pawn d3. More theoretical play. I've got to show you this. If captures, then the follow-up move is knight takes bishop, sacrificing an entire queen to then either take here first or check the king. Both lines work. Don't step here. This is the idea. Hit the queen, and basically wherever she goes, you're getting mated or losing tons of material, but it's pretty much a mate. And if coming back here, you step this way, the themes are the same. If you play something natural like this, there's knight f6 check, pawn recaptures, and because the king is completely boxed in, you have to give the queen. White recaptures and is doing great here because the rook is boxed in, king's dreadful, so on and so forth. So let's rewind. We didn't see the pawn captured. Instead, we saw this knight rotating round. The main move is dropping the knight back to support this one, but Magnus plays something a little bit quirkier. Knight e to g5. So he allows these ones to be swapped, and for black to maintain this pin, which is now intensified by the centralised queen. How's Magnus going to fight back? Well, with the theoretical move, he whispers it. Do you even rook cliff, bro? Hits that bishop, intercepts the queen's pressure on the knight here. This bishop drops back and hits the rook, and the main move is rook e3. Magnus gets really ambitious here. You know, no doubt he looked at that. It's the solid way to go. But so true to his form, he plays the real mixer. Pawn to c4. An explosive push. Kicks back the queen, but weakens this pawn critically. And it's struggling to advance. Now he drops back the rook. h6. Bishop's on its way. Pawn g5 gains more space. Bishop drops back to g3. Don't get too trigger happy. You give the knight a square here. Not ideal. So rook d8's on the board. x-raying the queen. Magnus goes for pawn h3, covering the pawn push one day, and Niemann just starts running with the king. Wants to activate this guy in the corner. a3, king h7, and before you can say, show me your dance moves, there they are. Very few people know that chess grandmasters can really shake it with the best of them. Magnus does gain space over there, but look at this. There's a problem. After he takes, doubling the pawns, Niemann allows it, streaming out with the queen, preparing to now cover the pawn. Yes, all bases are covered, but after that pawn is attacked for a fourth time, you know, you're wishing this one was back here, right? Magnus has got nothing better but to play the miserable, meek knight e1, and it allows Niemann to just turn the screw here. Possibly Magnus should have considered just chucking a pawn on that last move, but not easy. Open the bishop, give one up. Black stands much better, but also stands better after the excellent move. Pawn h5. And what to say about this position? What to say about such a move?
What is he doing?
He's beginning to believe.
Niemann now seeking his first win, and Magnus simply heads back with the knight. Now, what's the big problem here? Well, let's say you do something random. You know, start running the a-pawn. I don't know, gain space. The general idea is that black can now set up these threats against the rook on e3. Also g4's in the air. And if you ever drop back, well, the pawn collapses. This is the problem. And if you try rook f3 to stay on the third rank, escape the x-ray, well, g4 comes, you're in a world of pain. Whoops, if I could draw arrows. The position collapses. This weakness is just such a long-term problem. So Magnus tries the knight jumping back here. He's really on his pogo stick. This bishop's kicked back. Bishop h2 entombs the king. Don't push g4 too soon. Knight takes. So we saw pawn e6. Good move. Now queen c3, bishop h6 is most precise, but Niemann drops back to f8, and Magnus, again, is just completely paralysed. He's normally on the black side of such positions, squeezing his opponents. Niemann now takes the tin opener to the king side, plays the excellent pawn g4, launching Gary the debt collector down the board, banging on some doors. The rent's due, Magnus. Rook's about to drop. f3 therefore played, bishop drops back here, and now f4. Why? Well, anticipating this bishop lasering the dark squares, and of course you've not really got a proper counter because this one's in such a bad position. So this was tried, bishop h6 anyway, queen a5 desperation, but this queen steps in, hits a loose rook, saved by intercepting with the rook. But Niemann's got it all under control. There's a couple of good moves here, but he finds the absolute tip-top best. What do you think he did? It's bishop to e4. Again, a square it has no right to be on. This is the point. Rook drops if you take it. So in the game, we saw queen takes on c5, giving the exchange, going for counterplay, absolute best policy at this point, but there's a big problem. Not only is this pawn collapsing, but the king is hugely under fire now. Mate in one threatened, so Magnus drops back. Now we see the pawn collapse, rook takes, and again, Magnus bounces back to the back rank. I mean, he really had his pogo stick out this day, but not in a good way. We know grandmasters practice it. Rook takes was played by Niemann. Queen b2, trying to pick up a loose rook. Not today, sir. Rook takes knight threatened, and then the queen will crash through. Although there is a cover here, but okay. Anyway, you're threatening a knight. So this was played, desperate to run away. Many winning moves, but Niemann picks the cleanest. Bishop takes on f4, and it's all just collapsing. You know, say you take, well, the queen takes with check, you can block, but the h-pawn now starts deciding the game. So does the win of the queen, in fact. Different ways to win. So this was the final position, and this was of course the legendary clip recorded straight after the game.
Chess speaks for itself.
Hope you're loving these videos. Do have a look at the one on screen if you want some more of this great Niemann Carlsen action, and I hope to see you again soon. Cheers.